Hey guys, what's up? So how many calories do you really need to lose weight? There is so much conflicting information out there, and I know it gets very confusing. When I first started my journey, I had no idea where to go, how many calories I should be eating. There's one person telling you should eat a certain amount and you will lose, and then another person is saying, no, that's too little or that's too much. Use a calculator, where to go, what to do, what is the right number? Well, when I first started my journey, I'll be honest, I was not tracking in the beginning. And then when I hit a plateau and a stall and everything just came to a screeching halt, that's when I started tracking. So one of the mistakes I made was not tracking from the beginning. I would definitely advise tracking from the beginning as a data point to know how much you're getting in. Now, to go back to the question of how many calories should you eat to lose, I ate, and this is my personal experience, I ate about 1,200 calories in order to lose weight. Some days it was less, some days it was more, but on average, it was about 1,200. Now, keeping in mind that height, weight, body composition, activity level, metabolic function, those all play a part in how much you're gonna burn and your metabolism. So for me, I'm only 5'1". Unfortunately, for the shorter people out there, you don't have as much flexibility with the calories. You just don't have as much of a leeway to play around with. If you're taller and you have a larger mass, you can probably get away with a little bit more. So 1,200 calories is what I stuck to. That helped me to get to my goal weight. How did I figure it out? Well, you could figure it out two ways. One, you can plug your numbers into an online TDEE calculator. That will give you a rough estimate based on your height, your weight, your sex, your activity level. And then another way to calculate it is to track all of your food, everything that you eat for a week or two. And then from there, you know your maintenance calories, and then you can subtract 500 or 750 calories, depending on where you're starting from. And that will put you into a caloric deficit, and then you will start to lose weight from there. At the end of the day, as long as you are getting in enough calories, and what's enough? Probably 1,200. You don't want to go too much lower than that. There were days when I went lower, but it never lasted a long time. It might have been a day or two, and then I'd go back up again. In order to figure out what works for you, you also need to look at how quickly do you want to lose the weight? Because the higher the deficit, the more weight you're going to lose. However, that's when you might get more hungry and you might have to be a little bit more, disciplined around your appetite. So it really depends on, you have to ask yourself, how quickly do you want to lose weight? Some people are okay with starting slower and losing the weight slowly over time, but other people, I would put myself into this category, you want to get the biggest bang for your buck as quickly as you can. You want to see fast results because that keeps you motivated and energized and excited for the journey, because it is a journey. It's going to take time. It doesn't happen overnight. But for me, I personally wanted to lose as much weight as quickly as I could. Now, with that being said, it still was a slow go, and it took me about a year to lose a total of 50 pounds, with the last 10 pounds taking as long as the first 40, because the last bit, which makes a huge impact on your look and on your body, but it takes the longest amount of time. So that's why it took about a year. Now, from studies and research, there is no healthy way whether you want to lose it fast or slow. There's no research out there that says one way or the other is better for you long term, meaning in terms of keeping it off, you can lose it quickly and keep it off, or you could lose it slowly and keep it off, or not. It really makes no difference. It's really more about what works for you. If you want to go into a really big deficit and lose it quickly, go for it. However, appetite may kick in. So if you're at such a low calorie threshold, I definitely would not advise going below 1,000. And that's to make sure that you get in all of your, and that's for a woman, by the way, all of your nutrients. Men, yeah, you guys can eat a lot more than women. You tend to have just more muscle mass. You're just bigger in general. Unfortunately, the guys, they can eat more and still lose. We all know that story. Us ladies, but for the ladies, don't go below 1,000. The guys, probably would say not to really go below 1,500. I think that's pretty low for a guy. And then in terms of maintenance, once you hit your goal weight, you're gonna want to increase your calories a little bit more. So the average amount that a woman eats in maintenance has been shown to be about 1,400 calories, and men it's about 1,700. And that is through the National Weight Loss Registry. What that is they have looked at over 10,000 people that have lost at least 30 pounds and have kept it off for at least a year. And they look at those folks and say, what are the habits and the behaviors and all the things that they're doing to keep it off? And by the way, how many calories on average do you consume? Again, it's all self-reported, but it's a pretty good estimate, which is really, I think, very interesting. For me personally, I have kept off the 50 pounds now. I'm almost at 2 years, and I average about 1,500 a day. There are days when it goes less, and there are days when it goes more. So there are days maybe I'm at 1,200, but then there are other days when I'm really hungry and I can hit over 2,000 calories. So it really kind of waxes and wanes, and I think that's pretty normal. One of the things that I would advise not to do, and I see this mistake all the time with calories, is do not include or incorporate your exercise calories. That's on the side. Now, one of the reasons is because anything that calculates calories from your exercise, whether it's your watch or a machine or whatever the case is, they are inaccurate up to 90%. So if you include those calories, you could be overeating and not even know it. And you think you're in a deficit, but you're not. I never included my exercise calories, and I've always worked out. I started running, I've always been lifting weights, and now I walk a lot and use my weighted vest, and I still lift weights, but I never included my workout or exercise calories because they're so inaccurate. And they really don't move the needle a huge amount when it comes to weight loss. The driver of weight loss, the predominant driver, is going to be the diet. It's going to be your caloric deficit. You definitely want, and I'm a big advocate for working out, getting your activity level in, lifting weights, and all of that stuff. And that is really important. And it becomes more important when you're in the maintenance phase. But the diet is going to be the primary driver for losing weight. So, getting back to the question of where to start and how many calories, a good guide is don't go less than 1,200. If there are days that you're at 1,000, that's fine. But for the most part, I would stick to at least 1,200, unless you have like a raging appetite. If your appetite is so much, that means that you're too low. And that could lead to binging. That's happened to me. I know it's happened to other people. If you're that hungry, you're gonna just go into the cabinets and you're gonna eat because your body's just really hungry, and it's hard to control that. And that's where a GLP-1 really can come into play. There is no way that I would be able to stick consistently for a long time period to 1,200 calories a day without a GLP-1, without being on Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, or Zepbound. It played a huge role in helping me to control my appetite, and still does from a maintenance perspective. So if you have a huge appetite, or it's out of control, or whatever's going on where you feel like it's not just about willpower, it just isn't. I have a ton of willpower. I'm an extremely disciplined person. But when your appetite kicks in, that's biology kicking in, and it's really hard to turn yourself away from that. So if you need a GLP-1, it helps give a leg up to get you moving on the journey, to get you motivated, to get that weight off. So I definitely am a huge advocate if that's something that you need in order to help you with your weight loss journey. So again, if you need help in determining how many calories you need, you can go to a free online calculator, TDEE, to calculate how many calories you need. Again, that's an estimate. You may want to move the needle up a little, maybe move it down a little, but it's a pretty good estimate. Or you can just start tracking where you are currently, get your maintenance, and then subtract from there. So tell me in the comments, how many calories do you eat? What works for you? What has been working for you? What works in terms of weight loss? How many calories do you eat in terms of maintenance calories? That would be so interesting to hear. Also, it would be great to hear, your current height and weight if you're comfortable sharing that. I'm currently 5'1". I've been maintaining about 113 pounds for almost 2 years now. I have been maintaining on about 15, sometimes 1,600 calories on average a day. And I hope this video helps. Please like and subscribe to the channel so you always know when the next video is coming out. Share it with friends, family that are super confused about the calorie question and what to do and how to calculate that. And I will see you in my next video. Stay strong.